I'm very nervous-sided about this video. Nervous excited. I've been wanting to do this video for a long time. I thought it would be good to do it near Valentine's Day. So it's going to be two parts. This part is dating as a service dog handler. I want the second part to be, and I'll probably film it today or tomorrow, I want the second part to be advice from service dog handlers to people who are interested in or currently dating service dog handlers. So that is what I'm going to do. But the purpose of this video is just advice to newer handlers or handlers who have struggled in the dating area, which there's a lot of reasons why I've been nervous about this video. One, because I want it to be good, but also because I'm probably going to be mentioning some difficult things that people have brought up several times. Multiple people have brought up several times in their dating life, which I've also experienced with my ex. So I'll probably be talking about that. But first, I do want to go over some things for this video, like the pros and cons of dating a non-handler. So if you as a service dog handler are dating someone who does not handle a service dog, I think the biggest pro to that is having somebody to go to for insight and advice outside of the service dog community bubble. Because sometimes when you're disabled, you're isolated a lot anyway, but when you're a service dog handler, some of us, like, that's all we know after a while. Like, I've been a handler for about a year and a half, and it's just become my whole world. All my friends are handlers. The only people I even talk to are handlers besides my family. So, insight and advice outside of that community bubble, because I think the service dog community as a whole has pretty much the same ideas of, like, moral-wise and, you know, not ethnic, ethical, ethically wise. So, for example, if you're like, oh, what should I do here? And, you know, you have the service dog community or people who have service dogs, and you have somebody who doesn't. And I think it's important to get that outside advice. And also, having a service human is pretty cool. So, like, if you can't take your service dog with you, you always have somebody to help. And you also have, even if you have your service dog with you, you have somebody to help, like, hey, this seems a little off, maybe your service dog missed something, or maybe you need somebody to hold the door open for you. I don't know, simple stuff like that. Having a service human around is always really helpful for anybody with a disability. So I think that's really a pro when you're dating somebody who is not a service dog handler. Going into the cons, I think the biggest one from a lot of people would probably be, like, if their family doesn't accept or understand or are unsupportive of your service dog. And I think it's especially with people with invisible disabilities. Maybe they just don't get it. And I don't want to, like, downplay anybody who doesn't have an invisible disability, of course, but I think I had a really hard time with my ex's family being unsupportive, to the point where, like, she would ask, why can't you take medication? Why can't you, like, one time I told her that I needed a service dog because I pass out or I get really dizzy to the point where I can't see and I need something to hold on to. And she said, why don't you just hold on to a desk? And I played it off pretty good, I think, but in my head I'm like, when's the last time you saw a desk laying in the middle of an aisle at Walmart? Or, you know, if you're at an event, like, where's a desk just gonna be there for you to grab onto if you're about to freaking pass out? So, and then there was also, I was trying to explain to her deep pressure therapy, and I explained, you know, how the pressure on certain parts of your body will trigger a calming effect and kind of bring you down from that. Not that calming is a task, I already know that. I just lost my words there. But anyway, so she said, she pressed on her legs, and she said, well, can't you just do that yourself? Sure, I guess. It's probably not gonna freaking work. She was really unsupportive, and she asked my ex a lot of questions, like, oh, why is she... And I think a big part of that whole thing was she just didn't like that little imperfection, especially when I brought my dog to church. She didn't like that I brought a dog to church, even though I needed the dog. Like, I could not go into the auditorium at the church. I could not do it. I would have a meltdown if I went into the auditorium of the church. And she thought that I was like some kind of heathen for not going into the auditorium at the church. So unsupportive family would be one. Another con, I think, is the transition from normal outings to service dog handler outings. Because we all know that when you're a handler, things take longer, you have all eyes on you, you're getting stopped and asked questions, and also, you know, potty breaks, and you have to consider things that you would not have to consider if you were not dating a service dog handler. So dating a non-handler, there is a transition period where when you go out, they have to get used to that flow, and some people might really not like the flow of service dog handler life. Like, I'm going to bring up this issue, and because I'm only bringing it up because I know a lot of other people have had this issue. My ex was embarrassed by me having a dog, and he would get really annoyed if I was taking too long, especially when she was really, really young and I was taking all the time that I could to train her. He was just really annoyed, and he was embarrassed because a lot of people were asking him questions, like at our church, and if I started to have a meltdown or something, he would just walk away from me. He really could not get into that different way of life that you have as a service dog handler, and I think that is another really big one that you have to consider when you're dating a non-handler. They might not be able to go from there to there, and I'll probably mention that in the next video too, and that'll be more advice to the non-handler of how to overcome that. Now, if you're on my end here and you are a handler who is struggling with somebody who is not meeting with you, or, you know, meeting halfway, I know you've probably already talked to them, but really talk to them about it. I mean, if it's to the point where you guys, where they're like, oh, you're bringing the dog, or anything like that, I think there needs to be some kind of intermission started by you of, you know, this is why I have the dog. Like, go over every detail, because I think a lot of us are really passive about it because, you know, we know we need the dog, but I think a lot of us are like, but do we? Do we really need this dog? And so when you have somebody else over here who's not supportive or who's not really adjusting well to your new lifestyle, you need to probably invite them to therapy with you, honestly. Like, sorry about that. Once again, my camera cut off. But yeah, I don't want to go on and on about the cons, but it can be a struggle. And I think my biggest advice would be to go to therapy together. And if you have somebody who's really like, I don't like therapy, therapy's for nerds, then, I don't know, trick them, kidnap them, make them go to therapy, because you probably need some advice as to how to come together as somebody who is disabled and as somebody who is able-bodied and make that transition together. Life isn't the same when you're a service dog handler. It's not ever going to be the same. And they have to get used to that. And they have, if you guys have more pros, that would be great. I mean, obviously, it's, for the most part, it's a normal relationship. I mean, you just go out like you normally do. There's plenty of pros. There are a lot of supportive people out there who will value you and your service dog despite your disabilities. I know I'm rambling. Anyway, I want to move on. Look at her. I'm okay. I was just being silly. Yeah. So, dating other service dog handlers. I had a couple of people put in this insight, because I've never dated a service dog handler. So I was like, what are some pros? What are some cons? Some pros, obviously, having somebody who knows exactly what you're going through is awesome. Being able to bitch and complain about this and that the other person will be like, I totally know what you got, what you're talking about. And having somebody who kind of knows how disabilities and service dog stuff works. So having somebody who can recognize your ticks, and also recognize your dog's alerts. I think that having a service dog handler as a significant other is, I think that would be pretty good for somebody as a service dog handler to have, but there are some cons. Like, when you go out, there's gonna be double the attention. I mean, I've gone out with my friends, just the two of us. Like, if we're out, just me and her, like Caitlin, for example, we go out all the time. It's always double the attention. Oh, 2 dogs, and we always get questions like, are you training them? Or like, are you from a training organization? Which I know you get some of that by yourself, but when you're with another service dog handler, it's a lot more. So you get a lot more attention out in public. Things take even longer with 2 dogs, mostly because people are stopping you, but also, I mean, when you have any kind of medical equipment, it just takes longer. And also, I mean, having somebody else who is disabled, I mean, if neither of you have spoons for the week, nothing's gonna get done. And I think there's, obviously 2 people in the household who have disabilities is gonna be difficult anyway, but then you have 2 dogs, and you also, like, if you're moving into a place and you're both like, they're both service dogs, it sounds even more like you're just trying to avoid fees. So I think that one would probably be pretty difficult, is convincing landlords that you're not trying to dodge fees, that you really are both disabled, and you met at a meetup or something. I don't know. So I think we're going to move on to the pros and cons on that. I want to get into, like, where you guys can meet people. And I thought a lot about this, because at the end of the day, you as somebody who has a service dog, I know my words are really jumbled. I'm trying to say, you as somebody who handles a service dog, it's not going to be too much different from somebody who doesn't handle a service dog when you're meeting people. I mean, I met my boyfriend at fucking Walmart parking lot, and I'll probably tell that story at the end or something, of how I met my current boyfriend, because it's kind of cute and it's funny. But anyway, I mean, you can meet somebody anywhere, but if you're really, like, looking and trying, I think the best way is to go online, because you can go through a lot of people and kind of weed out the ones who are unsupportive or who are sleazy, or I don't know, just want your money or something. So yeah, go online, go to an app, or find a group on Facebook. Go out and just meet new people. And I think, honestly, you know, if you're somebody who's more of a homebody and doesn't like to get out a whole lot, I think that's another reason why dating websites and apps are really good for people who struggle to get out in general. And also you can have it on your profile, like, I don't go out much, I have a service dog, you know, that kind of thing, so that people can read it and be like, I don't mind. Or, not for me, I like to go out a lot. Or, I don't really like dogs, I'm allergic, you know, something like that. So yeah, go online and meet people online. Go to apps. And, as to when to tell this person, like, if you start talking to somebody and you're like, when should I tell them that I have a service dog? Right away. Tell them right away. Put it on your Tinder profile. Put it on your face. Like, make it like, this is me. This is what I have. Not that being disabled, or not that being a handler is like your whole identity, like it is for me. But it is going to bypass anybody who is gonna look at that and be like, that's not really for me. So, you know, it saves you, I think it will save you some time in the end, just like my advice for, should I bring my dog to an interview? Should I? Yes, bring your dog to the interview. Tell your employer right away that you have a service dog. Tell your person of interest right away that you have a service dog. Because at the end of the day, when you're really, like, open and honest about, you know, who you are and what you have to go through every day, you're gonna completely bypass people who are going to be like, I don't want to deal with that. Right like that. Because you could be talking to somebody for 3 weeks and then say, I have a service dog. Or show up at the first date with a service dog. And that be a freaking, what the fuck is that called? Why are all the words escaping my head? What the fuck is that term? Suki, what am I trying to say? She just reminded me I was trying to think of the word deal breaker. So if you're talking for a while to somebody and, you know, you don't ever mention that you have a service dog or that you're disabled, and that's a deal breaker for somebody, you know, then you just wasted 3 weeks on somebody that you could have been talking to, you know, to somebody else who doesn't give a shit. So yeah, tell them right away. Same with employers and family, like everybody, just tell them. Tell them. Now, if you have other advice, like, this is just my opinion. If you have other advice for people, and you disagree with me, let me know. Comment, and I'll be like, oh yeah, that makes sense. But yeah, in my opinion, tell everybody. Mwah. Tell everybody's, right? Look at her. Come here, Suki. Look at her bows that her Aunt Candace put in there for her when she got her groomed. Look, Suki, look at everybody. They're really here for you, so look at the camera. Look at the camera. They're here for you. She doesn't love you guys. She only loves me. She left me. That's okay. Anyway, I don't know. I think I talked about everything that I really wanted to talk about. Come here! Come here! I think I wanted to talk about everything I wanted to talk about. But I just want to elaborate so much on the unsupportive type of person. Especially, I think it especially comes in when you're with a person and then you bring the aspect of a service dog in. That's when things get really shaky. But when you develop a disability during the duration of your relationship, because that's what happened to me with my previous relationship, I was still like a pretty anxious, nervous mess, in high school. But once we moved out and, you know, over the years, it just progressively got worse and worse and worse. and I can probably make a video on, like, the details of my disability later for you guys if you're interested, but I think that having somebody who goes from being okay to not okay is hard. But at the end of the day, if you have somebody who is really not supportive or is giving you, like, conditional love, I mean, I don't want to tell you to leave the relationship, but action needs to be taken. Do not be passive about it. Do not act like you don't mind when they ask you to leave the dog at home, or that it doesn't hurt your feelings when they get frustrated at you because, you know, you're taking too long, or you're talking to somebody about service dogs who you don't know. Like, you know, people stop you at the grocery store and start talking to you about their cousin's, uncle's, friend's service dog handler person. So, you know, work on it. Really, like, it's serious. I didn't really... I was too passive about it. And honestly, I'm glad the relationship didn't work out. But if you're wanting your relationship to work out, you need to take action immediately and get that shit worked out. Now, I think it's a lot easier if you're a service dog handler and then somebody else comes in, because you're already a service dog handler. If you start dating, it's not like the other person is going to be surprised when you have to bring the dog everywhere you go with you. Now, I mean, there's still going to be some ups and downs, but at the end of the day, I think it's better when you're already a service dog handler and somebody comes in. That's what happened for me anyway. Actually, Suki was my little wing girl, weren't you? So yeah, I'm just gonna tell you guys what happened. So, okay, remember the vlog of the pet fair, so I'm in Ohio, so it was the Dublin Pet Fair, and we met up with some people, and it was just, we got her new collar there. That vlog was the day I met my boyfriend. So we went from the Dublin Pet Fair to Walmart, and Caitlin and Keeper, and we were with Luna and Raven, and Luna and Raven's channel is Luna the Service Malinois. If you haven't already subscribed to their channel, go, they're awesome. But anyway, so I wanted to stay in the car. It was like 60, 65 degrees outside. All the windows were rolled down. They left me and Suki in the car, and they went inside. So I hear, after a few minutes, I hear somebody say, somebody left their dog in the car. And I immediately got really annoyed. So I, looked up and kind of, scowled at him. First of all, my immediate reaction was, fuck, he's cute. I just gave this cute guy a really dirty look. And then, also, I scared the shit out of him when I popped up my head, because I was actually editing the video of that day when he said something, because he didn't see me. So I popped up my head, gave him a look, scared the shit out of him, and then I'm like, fuck, he's cute. I just gave him a dirty look. So they, he was with his friend or cousin or whatever. They get in the car, and then he says, from his window to mine, I'm in the back seat, he's like, do you have a knife or something? And I was like, he wants to open a belt that he got. And I was looking around, and then I stopped, and I was like, this isn't my car. I don't have a knife or anything. So he gets out and is looking, and I'm watching him. First, because I thought he was really fucking cute. And second, I was like, why is he asking me for a knife? Does he feel embarrassed that he just, said something about it? So anyway, so he finally gets, this belt open. And I was like, so did you steal it? And he was like, what? No, I have money to buy it. And I leaned my head out the window, and it was just super stupid. And I was like, they're stealing, the Vine videos. And they're like, no, shut up, there's a cop over. So, I don't know, we were just playing around. So finally, he, puts his belt on. He didn't wait to get home to put the belt on. He put the belt on in the parking lot. And I didn't watch, but I was just kind of, glancing at him, you doing? So he said, sorry you had to watch me put my belt on. And I just said, thanks for the entertainment. because I'm flirty and gross. I said that to him, and he laughed, and then they went into GameStop, and I was like, he's a gamer? He plays games? That's dope as fuck! So he comes out of GameStop, and I already knew he was gonna ask for my number. I knew. I was waiting for him to look at me, and he didn't, and he was, like, getting in his car, and I said, what game did you get? He's like, what? I said, what game did you get? You know, pointing at his bag, and he said, GTA 5. I said, cool. So he puts the game in the car, froze, and I was kind of waiting. I was just like, here he comes, he's gonna ask for my number. So he comes over, sure enough, he's like, so, do you have, like, a boyfriend or anything? I said, nope. He said, can I have your number? I said, yep. And after about a week, we started dating. So that's how I met my person. Not everybody is gonna find their soulmate in a Walmart parking lot, but you know what? You can definitely try. Thank you guys so much for watching today. This is Service Dog Universe. My name is Mackenzie. That's Suki, if you didn't already know. But yeah, subscribe to our channel. We're gonna go ahead and start up on the next video here. But yeah, Suki's birthday is coming up soon. It's on Valentine's Day. Aren't you gonna be 1 year old, baby girl? Aren't you gonna be 1 year old? So yeah, I love you guys. I will see you next time.